All right, so this is my office tank. It's a 5-gallon. As you can see on the label, it's supposed to contain Gomez and the murder beans. Gomez being my Half Moon Plakat Beta, and murder beans being my little Flip Aquatics pea puffers that I got from you guys. But I had to take Gomez out. He was originally a super docile fish, right? And I was like, oh, that would be great. I would love to house a super chill beta with my pea puffers, because I was thinking the pea puffers need a little bit more of like some attitude with their roommates. But as it turns out, Gomez had way too much attitude. He turned out to be a little bit of an a-hole. So we can't like that. So I took him out. He's currently in jail. Sorry if you guys can hear the dogs playing behind the tank. But yeah, so anyway, as you can see right here, there's shrimp in here as well, my cherries. Or some of my cherries anyway. But the pea puffers, leave them alone. I was actually really surprised. There's only 5 cherries in here right now, but they don't bother the shrimp like at all. So yeah, I was completely prepared to lose and sacrifice 5 cherry shrimp for these pea puffers. But they're getting along great. So that was a surprise. This is actually the tank that crashed the other day. And as you can see, I think it was because I added the CO2 booster, and I'm not entirely sure what it did to the bacteria, but it caused, like, what I knew was when something was happening was like there were copious amounts of pond snails in here. And all of a sudden they just stopped. Like, it was like all of the oxygen got sucked out of the room and they just had nothing, right? So they just stopped moving, stopped doing anything. The fish that were in here were fine, but kind of freaking out a little bit. And so I knew something was up. So I immediately did a water change. And I mean, as you can see here, the crypt, like, it looks so rough. It was doing great about 3 days ago, but now just looks horrible. And it kind of, like, you can see on my, let me move my coffee cup, on my tiger lotus, like, it looks kind of like the top layer of cells got singed or something, because, like, you can kind of see in the middle, like, there's still the coloration, the variegation and everything, but to the left on this particular leaf, it just looks sad and kind of washed out. And when you look at it in person, it's just kind of like, oh, sad story. But anyway, enough of the office tank, and I will go see the guppies next. All right, so here is a wide angle shot of my primary location for my tanks, which is in a spare bedroom at the moment. And as you can see, I have a bunch of under 20-gallon tanks. I've got 2 20 longs. The quarantine tanks over here are 2.5 gallons, and the middle row of shelves are 10 gallons, along with a 5-gallon up here, right there on the top. So yeah, I'll go ahead and zoom in more on the most interesting tanks in the room, which are on the shelves, since there's nothing in the quarantine tanks right now. So I'll walk over here. And I apologize for just the stupid amount of cords and tubing and everything. I haven't quite gotten organized yet, and like everything is still kind of crazy from when I moved the tanks in here. So I did get the electrical situation kind of sorted out, at least above and off the ground for safety. because that's how we do things here. But as for the air pumps, those are going to get mounted on the wall, and the lights are all connected into one of the surge protectors over on the reservoir. Yeah, so anyway, here we go. These are my albino yellow cobras that I got from Dan's Fish. This guy is showing off right here in the middle. He's a really good example of what I'm looking for. If the phone will focus, that would be great. Come on. But yeah, he's good. There's another male over here. I think I've got 3 males and about 4 or 5 females. The females kind of like to hang out down there. I do have some rapashi in there, so they're kind of chomping away. This is the moss in here is what I like to call sex worker moss, because it's impolite to say hooker now. So sex worker moss it is. That's just me being weird again. Over here we've got my single blues. Oh, before I forget, although you probably will not see him, there is a Colombian zebra pleco in this 5-gallon tank. But again, like I said, he always hides and you probably won't see him. So over here we have the single blue tank, along with, I think there's 2 or 3 more zebra plecos in there. Colombian zebra plecos, not like super fancy L series ones. I got Colombian ones because my wife is Colombian, and it was just perfect opportunity. And I was like, hey, for my birthday, this is what I want. So that's what ended up happening. As you can see, I've also got some albino cories in there. They're a boisterous little bunch. They're always moving, always, you know, up to no good. And I've got a ton of magenta mystery snails, which is actually the result of me being adventurous one day and going onto eBay and buying a clutch of eggs just to see if I could grow it out, because that's the kind of thing that I do. And I was super successful, like way more successful than I thought I was going to be. So now I have plenty of magenta mystery snails. They're going to be going, they're all about dime sized right now. But they're going to be going into various tanks for, you know, cleaning and maintenance and that kind of thing. All the things that snails do, all those nice benefits. In here we also have all kinds of Java moss, like a ridiculous amount. And there's floating plants. There's way too much duckweed in there right now, although I will say that I am not necessarily anti-duckweed. I do think it helps keep nitrates super low, and since there's not really anything fancy per se that I'm growing in this tank, I don't really mind it. So I need to clean some of it out, because you can see it's like leaving kind of a green cast on the tank, which I don't like. But I also have put in some green water in from another tank to help feed the stupid amount of fry that are in this tank. So with that, I will show you the super awesome green water tank that I made on accident. So if you could see into this tank right here, you would see nothing but rows and rows and rows of potted aquatic plants. And what I think happened was originally I put 1 root tab per potted plant into this tank. And I think what happened is those nutrients all leached out into the water, and I had some chlorella culture that I was trying to grow and got really frustrated with it because it wasn't growing like I wanted. And so I just tossed it in this tank, and lo and behold, like maybe 24, 48 hours later, I have a massive amount of green water. And in addition to having this super awesome culture, I decided to experiment one more step with it and grow some 24 karat golds in there. And I actually got this idea from a guppy breeder in Australia. I was watching a video of his, and he says he raises his fry specifically in green water because it's super great for the fry. Like, they have an endless food source. They're safer since the parents can't reach them as easily, or see them as easily, I should say. But yeah, that's pretty cool, and it's going well so far, so I'll be happy to update you guys on how that's going. In the next tank over, we have my Indo Blue Dragons in my Blue Dream Shrimp tank. Again, this tank, as well as other tanks, have a ton of floating plants. So it's kind of, oh, focus. It's kind of difficult for the light penetration to get down, which doesn't really seem to bother the fish or the shrimp at all. It mostly bothers me because I can't see them in there. Sometimes we have little visitors come up to the front of the tank. Oh, there's one. There's one of the girls. If it'll focus on her, maybe. But yeah, so there's only 3 females in there and a male. Unfortunately, I forgot to mention earlier that all the males in my 24 karat golds died. They didn't make it. And most, but not all, of the Indo Blue Dragon males didn't make it either. I got them from the same breeder, H-Town Guppy, and don't think I'll be doing that again. So here we are. In this tank here, in my red cherry tank, we've got Russian red snakeskins. I don't think you'll be able to see any of those. They kind of hang in the back of the tank. But let's see if we can see any good cherry shrimp. Looks like we've got a couple up on the filter, one on the plant right over here. If it'll focus, there we go. There's that guy. Come on, why are you not working? And then there's always some down here around the bottom of the leaves. Oh, some in the subwasser tank. So in both of my shrimp tanks, I have basically the entire bottom of the tank covered in subwasser tank. It's probably one of my favorite, I know it's not technically a moss, but it's my favorite kind of moss adjacent plant. And okay, in this tank, we've got the Buenos Aires Tetras, the Rainbow Shiners, and Gertrude, my blue alien beta. And let's see, she normally hangs out right here, but doesn't look like the doctor's in. So, bummer. And the Rainbow Shiners are usually kind of schooling right over here in this corner, but it doesn't look like they're over there either. So maybe there's a party going on that I'm unaware of. Oh, I've also got Emperor Tetras in here. Here's one of them, but he decided to make an appearance. They like to show up and think that I'm gonna feed him, so I'm sure that's why he's there. In this bottom tank, which I'm looking at just now and realizing I probably should have cleaned it before taking this video. But in this tank, I've got my gold longfin Danios, Cheyenne, who is my green alien beta female, my Schultzii cories, and my Habrosis cories. And if you guys can see, if I can move the light, there's everyone. And when I say I have potted plants in my tanks, this is exactly what I mean. Right here down, I've got crypts for days. I've got Anubias Nana Petite in there. I've got the S. repens, just all kinds of stuff. But I propagate plants both in their own tanks and in fish tanks. And originally I was going to have them in their own tanks, but like, I don't know, a few months in, I was like, you know what? They grow better when they have the fish in there. So that's been my experience. And lastly, we've got these full black Thai Moscows, which are probably my favorite, or maybe my second favorite, of the guppy strains that I have. There's a ton of fry in here, 2 females and I think 3 males. going on. I lost a couple of the females, unfortunately, but there was a lot of bacterial disease that ended up going on that I didn't catch until too late, so that's kind of the story with that. But yeah, love these. Not entirely convinced of the plant situation in here. I'm constantly changing things out, putting things in, all kinds of stuff. So yeah, there's a decent overview of what I've got going on in the primary part of what I call my fish room, although I would really like the whole room, but just it is what it is for now, and it will get better with time. So yeah, we'll head out to the living room tank so you can see the rest of the guppies and what else I've got going on out there. Alright guys, this is my living room tank. It's a nice standard 20-gallon. It houses my ember tetras and my stir-by-cories, as well as some equus cories and a few mystery snails. Magenta, obviously, because that's what I love. As far as guppies go, these are where I keep my albino full reds. An amazing strain, actually, and I wish that I had contacted you guys earlier because I had just gotten rid of a ton of these fish. So they're absolutely amazing. Let me see if I can focus in on one of the males and see if I can get him under the light, because he is just a stunner, straight up. But he's not coming out. But anyway, here's my let's focus. There we go. Here is the living room tank in all its glory. It's actually just gone through a really big trim. So it looks a little sparse in terms of the background plants, but you know, sometimes you got to cut things down in order for them to grow the way that you want them to. So a little bit of pruning never hurt anybody as far as I'm concerned. This is Henry, as I like to call him, King Henry. He is probably the prettiest fish in this house. I say that after having, you know, however many guppy strains I showed you earlier, but Henry is just above and beyond. And you know, I really wish that his colors were coming through, because they're a bit more red and pink than what's showing up on the video, but he's just a looker. Like, he makes heads turn every time people come over, which isn't that often, but you know, whenever they do, they always like to comment and look at Henry, especially when my friends with kids come over. They love this guy. So here's a little, you know, more zoomed out picture of this tank. Oh, don't mind my messy ass kitchen. But this is where he likes to live. I've got what was sold to me as an autocinklus, but is actually some kind of Chinese algae eater somewhere in here, if I can find him. Oh, where is he? He's hiding. But anyway, here is tank number, Lord, I don't know, 15 or something, 16, and probably the last one that I'll show you, because my other quarantine tank in here doesn't have anything in it. But I got one other little area to show you, and then I will be done. I forgot to show you guys earlier, but this is the back of my office tank right now, and that right there is Gomez, the a-hole beta. The one that was attacking the pea puffers. He's just a beauty, but oh my goodness, what a little butt face. Just look at him. He's so pretty, but like, why you gotta be like that, homie? Huh? Why? But anyway, he's in jail, and I just haven't quite figured out what I'm gonna do with him yet, where I'm gonna put him. I'll probably end up having to get him his own little tank situation, but man, just causing problems over here. He's pretty though. And lastly, here is the dog tax. So the blonde one is Murphy. She's the youngest. Rue, look at me. That's Rue, the little mini Aussie. She's perfect in every way. And where's Frida? There's Frida. Here she is. She's good. They're all good. But just wanted to show them to you, introduce them, get to know them a little bit. But yeah, so that's it. Hello, fishy friends. It's nice to meet you. I'm Emily. Please forgive me because this is literally one of the first videos that I've ever made. So I hope you guys were able to, you know, see everything and enjoy everything to at least a decent extent. I just wanted to kind of take a second to introduce myself. My original plan was for this to be at the beginning of the video, but you know, life happens and now it's at the end. So hopefully you guys stayed, and you know, congratulations if you made it to the end of the video. I just wanted to get into a little bit why and how I got into fish keeping. So originally I had the idea. I'm, number one, a crazy plant lady at heart. Like, I am growing plants 365 days out of the year, in the house, outside of the house. I mean, wherever I can fit them, they're growing. So in order to kind of help those plants, especially my house plants, my garden plants, my plants that are in the permaculture raised bed that I have in the backyard, I really wanted to and was interested in cultivating water and the bacteria and all the kinds of goodies that are in aquatic ecosystems. I wanted to add to my terrestrial ecosystem so that I could kind of, you know, get all the benefits of those added goodies. So that was where my original idea came from, and coincidentally, it turns out that the aquatic ecosystem really benefits from the addition of fish, which is pretty much how I got into fish keeping, was seeing the fish as a necessity to complete the kind of ecosystem circle that that I had going. So that's how I, you know, got into the hobby. And since going into the hobby, I've really become interested in keeping and maintaining lines of guppies. If you kind of make a comparison to terrestrial plants, I will grow, for example, pepper plants to make, you know, homemade salsas and things, as one does. But if you think about pepper plants, you know, you can grow Scotch bonnets, you can grow habaneros, jalapenos, serranos. There's all kinds of different strains, right? But, you know, a habanero has a much fruitier flavor than, say, a jalapeno, which is more vegetal. Well, I take the same, and when you grow those plants, you grow them for those specific reasons, right? And so I take that kind of approach to my guppies. I'm not necessarily interested in crossbreeding or cross-pollination in regarding plants, but I mean, those same kinds of goals, I guess, I have for the guppies. So I work to maintain them and get them to be the best versions that they can be. And that's really what I enjoy. I also have a love for corydoras. I just think they're the most ugly, cutest fish that are in the hobby. Specifically, probably my very favorites are the Hastatus cories, which I've been successful at breeding in the past, but am looking to start a whole new colony as soon as I can source some. So that's kind of what's on deck for my next project. And as always, I have the 5 to 6 lines of guppies that I'm working on. And yeah, that's pretty much, you know, all I've got for you guys for now. I look forward to making some more videos, and I don't want to take up any more of your time. You've already spent a good long while with me. So I appreciate you watching, and hope you guys have a good day, and I will catch you on the flip side.